y'all, we are spending most of our day in the kitchen today with this little cutie, our newest Semper K9 puppy. Hi. Don't you chew my rug. No, ma'am. She's a little rescue pup from our rescue partner, Operation Paws for Homes. What do you have in your mouth? Leaf. Anyway, so we have the remnants of Hurricane Laura on us today, so we are going to be doing a lot of preserving. I'm going to be cutting and putting up the okra. I'm going to be freezing it, so I'll show you how I do that. I also have over here our beans. They're currently getting dried. I am going to freeze dry these once they dry, not freeze dry. Once they dry, I'm going to vacuum seal them and freeze them. These are the Blue Lake pole beans, and these are the white half runner beans. So we're doing a lot of that today. Our Excalibur dehydrator is running. We have some tomatoes in there, and I'm about to add all of these peppers from the Semper Fresh garden. So I'm going to dry these off and cut some of the larger ones. These are jalapenos. I'm going to keep all of those together so I know my hot peppers are together when I'm preserving. And then all the sweet peppers I'll be putting together on the freeze dryer, the dehydrator. And I will be preserving those. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with them. As far as once I get them dehydrated, I'm just going to preserve them and use them probably in soups and dips and that sort of thing, and different things that I'm cooking in the kitchen. But I do have to get, because I'm already seeing that some of my okra is not going to be usable. I waited a little too long to get it ready to go. So what I do with my okra is I freeze it. I wash it, let it dry. I cut it into medallions like I would if I were going to be frying the okra. Since I don't have enough to do a whole batch of fried okra right now, I will then lay them on a cookie sheet, put them in the top of my chest freezer, let them individually freeze, and then I will vacuum seal them in a freezer bag and put them in the freezer, put them back in the freezer until I'm ready to go. Some of these I've waited a little bit too long to do. This has been a really busy week for us with the kids starting back school, and it's virtual school, and trying to get our routines down and also trying to work. So this has not been our first priority this week, and unfortunately we've lost some of our harvest. So let's get this stuff preserved. So this is what I was able to get out of the okra that I had already harvested. I mean, you could definitely bread this up and fry it now. I don't fry a lot of food, so to get oil out and start cooking this would not be beneficial, because it would not feed the whole family. We'd be fighting over it. But what I'm going to do is freeze this. I'm going to put this in the freezer probably for, I don't know, 30 minutes, so that each individual piece gets frozen on its own and it's not clumped together. And then I'm going to pull it out and quickly put it in a vacuum seal freezer bag and vacuum seal it and put it back in the freezer until I'm ready to combine it with another portion of my harvest. I do not salt these. I do not pepper these. I don't do anything else with these. I don't blanch them. I just clean them, dry them, cut them, pop them in the freezer for a little bit, and then vacuum seal them into a freezer bag for later use. One thing I wanted to point out is, if there's ever a question about the quality, and I don't normally keep the tops because no one likes to eat them here, but I normally keep the bottoms. But if I'm worried that the bottoms aren't the best quality, here's an example. See how it's already got some turning of color? Do not preserve something that's questionable on the quality. You want it to be absolutely fresh. You want it to be the best of. We could possibly, we would still eat these. I could just roast them today. So I may roast them tonight when we are eating our dinner, I may roast these and clean them really well. They're just starting to turn. There's not really anything wrong with them. I brought them home, put them in the refrigerator until I had a couple of days worth, but I did this on Sunday. A lot of these that are turning on Sunday, and now it's Saturday. So not typically how I do my preserving, but like I said, we had a really busy week. So that is what I'm doing with the okra now, and I'm about to move over to my peppers and clean all of this up and decide which ones I'm going to keep to cook, and then compost the rest. And then I'm going to decide what to do with my peppers. I dehydrate my smaller peppers whole. My larger peppers, though, it feels like something's on them. Oh, I think it's the mucilage from the okra. My larger peppers, though, these would take way too long to dehydrate. I'm going to have to cut them. So I don't know which way I'm going to cut them. And then I'm definitely going to have to cut these. I've never dehydrated any of these, so I might do them in slices, kind of like you would like a slice of jalapeno. And the bigger jalapenos, I'm going to have to slice as well. I do already have some sliced jalapenos and whole jalapenos that I've dehydrated and preserved. But I'm going to have to slice these larger ones, or I'll be running my dehydrator. Even though it's a high volume, I don't know what word you would want to use, but even though it's a high performing dehydrator, it would still take quite a long time to do these. I could roast them, I guess, but I just don't want to do that. It's a lot of work. I'd rather just slice them, put them on the dehydrator, and let it do its thing. These are starting to dry as well, so I'm flipping them because I have my little fan over here on them. So that what I will do with these in a little bit is cut the ends off of each one and then cut it in half, and then I will portion it up into probably 1 cup containers and freeze them as 1 cup. Now, while I am getting ready to have these peppers preserved, I'm also thinking about seed saving. On this particular pepper, the sweet banana pepper, I don't need to save seeds on because I already have plenty still in my stock. So I'm not worried about saving seeds for those. I'm also saving seeds for my cantaloupe. So I will actually be putting these in envelopes in just a moment because I saved these yesterday from our cantaloupe that we harvested, and I have them ready to go. The Mad Hatter peppers, I don't know if I'm going to grow these again next year. I thought about saving seeds for them, but I don't know if they are open pollinated or not. I bought these plants from Home Depot, so I don't know if I'm going to be saving these. They're also kind of hard to cook with. I don't really know what people typically do with these, so I don't know. We'll see. But I am thinking about saving seeds, especially for the orange pepperoncinis. I'm saving seeds for those, and I'm also saving seeds for the jalapenos. And I'm also saving seeds for my candy cane peppers. Okay, I'm saving my jalapenos for last because I've had several times that I forgot that I was using jalapenos or cutting them, and I rubbed my eye or felt like my nose was bleeding because I'm anemic. I get nosebleeds a lot, and just this breathing in the smell of the jalapenos was making my nose run. So I reached up to see if my nose was bleeding by just touching it, just barely touching my nostril, and it was just lit. It was so hot from the jalapenos. I did not even think about it. So I put gloves on when I do this part just because I don't want to run into that again, because then I also stuck it in my eye simultaneously. I don't even know what I was thinking, but I had to wash my eye out. But I put my jalapenos on the bottom. I keep them together on the trays, and I put them on the bottom of the dehydrator while I'm doing my sweet peppers, just because I don't want to contaminate sweet with hot. I accidentally, that came from some of the peppers I was stacking above, did not clean this really well from one of the last times when I was doing the peaches. Apparently there was a couple jalapeno seeds that got stuck to the peaches that I just didn't see as I was cleaning my trays, and Bo said that the hottest peach he ever ate. So anyway, so now it's time for me to cut the jalapenos. I think I'm just going to slice all of these so that they're all sliced, and I can put them all in with the other sliced dehydrated jalapenos that I have. Okay, so here are our jalapeno slices, and again, some of my seeds fell through here, so I just need to make sure I get those cleaned up before I put the next thing on my dehydrator trays, or everything's going to be lit. Okay, I'm already so tired of being on my feet, but I'm almost done. So what you're gonna do on your green beans, a lot of people will blanch their green beans. I don't. When you're freeze drying, I just don't see the need. They stay fresh. I don't blanch anything that I freeze dry. So what you're gonna do is cut off the ends here, and if they're smaller, and cut off both sides. And then the longer beans you're going to cut in half. If they're smaller, you know, you can cut those in half too if you want. It's just personal preference on how big you want your beans to be when you cook them. And again, if you're freezing them, then more than likely they're going to be just fine, not blanched. I've never done mine and I haven't had any issues. Now, if I'm canning, that's a different story. Canning is completely different. This is just freezing. I don't really have a ton of space in my freezers because we have a half a cow and a half a pig in there, on top of just our regular freezer stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing, because it's just a small batch, I didn't want to can today. Now, I'm not overly concerned with discoloration, but when I'm finding beans that are mushy, they're starting to turn, I'm definitely not going to preserve those, because like I said, you need to preserve the top quality. The discoloration is just the way it was grown and the elements it was exposed to while it was grown, so it's not necessarily anything bad, unless you have a spot like this where something dug in there and got in there. That one's not going to be preserved, but you can see a couple of the spots where they're starting to turn. If the rest of the bean is still good, I just cut off the bad spots and preserve the good beans. Okay, I now have my okra that's frozen, so I'm going to quickly process this with the vacuum seal. I'm going to make my own bag for this, but when I do my green beans, I'll probably use the pre-made bags that I have on hand. I really like using the roll better because I can control the size of the bag without a lot of waste. Okay, and something to make sure that you do is to label it so you know what it is. This is about 3/4 of a cup, and I'll be able to use it and thaw it out when I'm ready to make a big batch of fried okra. So I actually am going to use my own bags on the next batch. I did 2 cups worth in each, and I had to cut a significant amount off of the top of my pre-made bag. So yeah, excited to get these finished and start on the next batch of the white half runner beans.